What's going on, everybody? Welcome into a special edition of the Tuesday Track Talk featuring a Three Stones pit crew along with our special guest, Vince Villarreal. He's joining us today, and we're going to talk more social media, little photography, and looking at racing through a different lens, one might say. So we're glad you could join us. Thanks for joining us. So that's kind of what's on the docket for this episode. So, how's it going this evening? What do we know? What's new?
Oh, well, first off, thanks for having me, guys. Hopefully that went through it. Thanks for having me, guys. This has been a long time coming. We talked about doing this a couple weeks ago, so I'm happy to be on. But
Yeah.
we are in full summer mode. The shear hit a month ago, and I feel like I've been nonstop, which I love. But I feel like I've been nonstop since. So it's been pretty crazy. And yeah, I'm actually working on some ASA stuff. So I'm actually editing a video with Dean Strom right now. Went down to Slinger a week ago, last Wednesday. Did some interviews, like had 8 of them, and I'm just trying to get to him now before the Stars tour heads off to Madison and Slinger next week.
Yeah. So, kind of speaking of doing interviews and coverage, and just kind of talk to us a little bit about how you got into the media world and racing together, how you kind of matched those up. So, just talk a little bit about that for us.
Yeah, and it's funny because I feel like you hear everyone say that's in racing, like I want to be a race car driver. I feel like all of us were like, I want to be Mario, and you always want to be your heroes, right?
Yep.
And that was never gonna happen. I remember being obsessed with the Gart track in Shawano. That's like I'm in Stevens Point, so it's like an hour, hour and a half, but we never went. I remember like Googling it as a kid and being like, Dad, we gotta go. And it never happened. And you always want to be a race car driver. And, so it never happened, obviously, but um, still fell in love with it. Went to Golden Sands, my home track, when I was like 6 or 7, once or twice. And then we just never really went, got involved in other things, but still paid attention to your NASCARs and your F1s of the world. Um, and then COVID hit. I went to school in Platteville and then came home. COVID was like it just wasn't working. So I came home and then it hit about this time and I go, I got nothing to do. I need to make some money. Like I got to do something. And of course the racetracks were open and I had just started um I was like a freshman in college and I in high school I did a bunch of social media, so like graphics and stuff for sports teams, would go all the hockey games and do the live updates and whatever. And I started working with a camera and doing some video editing, and then I was like, maybe I can make this work. So I called Shannon and Cody, and they're like, hell yeah, come on out. Because that was the only thing that was open, right? Racetracks, they didn't really close down apart from Madison. Dane County was pretty locked down, but got out there. And, I shot all summer. It was any event we could. Remember, we started the year off with an enduro, or my first event was an enduro in June, and it was bizarre, like because they don't really have that enduro. So like a bunch of right front hubs and rotors would just explode. They just, it was so hot because they never run that enduro. They never
Yeah.
run an enduro in June because it was a day race. So those right fronts, those poor four cylinders are just hotter than the sun. Um, that was the day 2, and the Wincenson family from Wausau remembers this. I'm blanking on his name, Carson. I can't remember his last Sellers. Carson Sellers went up and over. That was like my first experience, and I'm like, what did I just sign myself up for? He goes like up and over. Um, but that happened. Been at Sands since 2020, and then I did a video for Jordan Devoy like 3 or 4 years ago. I'm a big Jordan Devoy fan since I met him, and been just I think they're a great group of family team, and got a hold of them, and then they're like, yeah, come on out for an Alive for Five race. So I did that, and then the pit road crew was there. I wanted to get audio on my little recorder, and met Steve and Dan, and then they called their boss, and they're like, hey, we got a guy, like we should hire him. So they kind of vouched for me, and then next thing you know, I'm at pit row, and then the guy that runs pit row also kind of works with the track TV thing. So then all of a sudden, when the Stars tour came to Wisconsin, I was then roped into that, and the Midwest tour, and then it all just kind of. Next thing I know, I'm like, hey, you want to go to the one year we did the uh Bigley, and I'm like, hey, you want to go to Florida? And I'm like, hell yeah, I want to go to Florida. So then it's all of a sudden you're on a plane and trains and automobiles, you're going to tracks, and it's been a dream the last like 2 years.
Nice.
Pretty much just took off, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. And it was fascinating too, because I was in college at the time, and um it would have been my senior year, my fifth year, is when everything kind of started taking off. But I was only in like 6 credits at the time, each semester. And so I still work at the university, but I was a student there, but I was doing a lot of content. So I'm like running from volleyball games to like, oh, I got a flight tomorrow. Oh yeah, I still have class. Like for like that one year, it was awesome because it was like it was seeing your best friends on the court or on the rink, and then you're buzzing off on a plane to Nowheresville somewhere, and then you're like, hey, I got to go to Oktoberfest for 6 days. Sorry. And then it was
Yep.
crazy. It was awesome.
Sweet.
Hell yeah.
I don't know if we want to go right into hopes, dreams, and things like that, but you talk about, in the racing world, you always talk about going up the ranks. You start at, in a national tour and then get yourself into the truck series, Xfinity, Cup series. I feel like you kind of just explained that, you know, with yourself and your photography and videography. You started at Sands and then now you're working your way up. Obviously, you said like this kind of has taken off. Have you started to wrap your brain around, where this could go and what the future looks like for you or what your goal, could
Uh,
be?
A little bit. I have an LLC now. That was pretty cool to like get that done, but it was still like I don't know what I'm doing. Like it was more to like protect my butt than anything, if I'm being completely honest. But I have it, but I feel like I'm not like using it to its potential, but that's a conversation for another time. But the thought of the ladder, I've thought about it and I really like where I'm at. I'm still at home, which is good and bad, right? Rent's cheap, but it'd be nice to be on your own. But it's
Yeah.
nice. I still work for the college, which is great to kind of have something to do in the winter. It keeps me busy. There were Saturdays where you'd have 6 events, track meets, and it's everything, and you're just running around and it keeps me busy in the winter, but um I don't want to wish away what I have, but it's hard because I've worked with the NASCAR stuff. We did Justin Mondyke. I've been working for him since last year, and he took me along for his truck rides last year. We went to Bristol and Kansas, and that was pretty cool. But at the same time, it kind of shows you what it's like up there. I interviewed for Penske about a year ago as well, and that was eye-opening. Um, it's quite corporate-y, and I still don't know if I like it. I don't know. I like where I'm at. It's a lot of the people. I like the short track racing. There's nothing like it. I feel like the passion here is second to none. I don't care if it's World of Outlaws. I don't care if it's IRA. I don't care if it's Derek Kraus winning at Stars. I wouldn't have put money, if he were to win, I wouldn't have guessed he would have shed a tear and he cried in victory lane, which is awesome. I mean, he deserved it, but it's one of those things where it's like, are you going to get that at the upper level? And is it going to mean the same? And it's cool for me to like, see these guys that we're all in this circus. So you see the grind of them. You see someone wreck their car and you go, hey, I can't help, but I'll give my moral, my emotional, my moral, because I'm not a mechanic in the slightest, but it means a little more at this level, but it'd be nice, I think, one day to go up to the higher level and actually do it and say I did it. But in the moment, I'm not trying to wish away where I am and being like, oh, I want to get up to the top. Like, I got time. I'm not trying to run. I mean, yes, I'm 23, but it's like, we'll get there.
And I guess follow-up question now that you say that. You talking about interviewing at Penske and being a little bit corporate-y. Um, Obviously you're juggling all these that kind of sets your schedule, but I got a feeling, and maybe this is a dumb question, but are you kind of your own boss right now? You get to kind of set your, outside of, obviously the touring series and what you have to be at. Outside of that, do you kind of get to, are you your own boss? Do you set your own schedule? You like, hey, I kind of want to go shoot something new. I'm going to go try a different event or what? Talk us through that kind of
Yeah,
what
yes
that
and
looks like.
no. A little bit, a little bit. So like right now I actually was on the phone with my boss quite a bit today. So we're trying to figure out just content. So it's like in a sense there's like a schedule set. He's like, "Hey, I want these deadlines. Like we're trying to have all of most of our in broadcast content for the Stars races done by like Monday or Tuesday of that week." So because he's flying in from Philly, so he's like, "I want to be on ground and be like I at least have run times for your content packages so then I can start to like reverse engineer the pre-race show." So, there's kind of like a set schedule, but in terms of like the race schedule, yeah, it is like, okay, I sign up for the sand season. I'm there. Like I have a wedding next Friday, so I can't, or this Friday, so I can't make that sand show. But then I'm gonna go to the Dells and shoot the Live for Five race. And then I've started to work with Alex Gilhart at Angel Park and Greg McCarnes. Been fortunate enough to go there. I just started showing up there a couple of years ago, just taking photos because That place I think is really cool. And then Alex is like, you want to make money? I'm like, yeah. He's like, I can't throw you a ton. Like it's not what I don't know how to say that. Like I'm probably revealing too much, but it's not like I think I asked for like a certain amount. He's like, best I can do is this. And I'm like, okay, like I'm not gonna work directly with you, but I'll still work like throw you a bone. Like, you're kind of valuing your money as you go. But most of the time it's that. Like I feel like I've kind of signed on at Angel Park, but like sometimes we get asked to go to Slinger, so it's like, ah, sorry, I can't go to Angel Park. Like it just makes more sense to go to Slinger. So it's a little bit of a give and a take, ebb and flow. But yeah, my schedule is kind of like I had high limit written this week. Was I gonna go? Probably not. But I was like, oh, maybe if I really am not busy, I'll make it. But the other thing is you forget with those bigger series, and again, that goes back to the corporate of this. It's like you have to put your media submission in, and like it's like, holy crap, like it gets to kind of be a chore. And I don't have a smug mug. I take photos more for fun, so I'm not making money in that sense. Um, so it's hard for me to like show up and just be like, I'm gonna take photos. Like it's kind of in the way that I look, it's just a little different than some photographers.
Got it.
So what's been your biggest challenge that you've had? I feel like schedule is obviously part of that, but you obviously jump back and forth between the UWSP sports and the race and stuff like that. So schedule, we'll say schedule aside, what do you feel like has been one of the biggest challenges that you've come across in the handful of years that you've been doing this?
I think right now it's juggling everything. Like I need to get better at getting like I have like a whiteboard that still says May 11th through the 18th. That's awesome. Uh, I have I have like so I obviously like when okay, I went to school for graphic design, so we had to do all these like base art classes. So I still have like these massive um like notepads, like not notepads,
Yep.
but like sketch pads. So I'm using them as like the poor man's whiteboard to put like Sharpie on them. Um,
Yep.
and I'm trying to find a system like write everything down, but the hardest thing for me is like juggling it and like actually like trying to be efficient with the time because I feel like I always bite off more than I can chew. No, I'm still learning the word no. Um, but I also thrive in chaos. Like I wouldn't trade it for the world. So like I'm constantly like, is this was this a good idea? Or is this like right where like I'm like, is this too much? Is it not? So that's the hardest thing is just juggling like, okay, we have this project and this project and this project. Like Justin wants something and then Stars needs something because that's like due like now and then oh wait, Sands needs this. It's like you're never it's like almost never ending for right now. I'm sure it'll get better, but I'm trying to be like, all right, get through June, get through the next month. And
Yeah, for sure. So when you think about let's talk a little bit more on the racing side of things. What would you say your favorite event or series of events would be to cover?
Or even one that you really want to cover.
yeah, well, I've covered quite a bit. I've been pretty fortunate in that aspect. I've always enjoyed the Slinger Nationals. That to me is one of my favorites, for sure. Angel Park's always I mean, honestly, Slinger at any time of the year is always a favorite. Angel Park's a favorite. Um, Trying to think anything else. That's it. I've had the opportunity to cover Crandon, more from the stands than like actually getting a pass and being in the inside. Um, but Crandon was cool, but I don't know, it's kind of it. I like when the big races come to us. Sure, it's fun to go to a Five Flags. I've never been to the Derby. The Derby's on the list, but
Yep.
it's fun to go to the Winchesters. That's another good one. But nothing compares to everyone coming to your backyard and then seeing the people that you know in the stands and the flagmen, the officials and the tech guys and all the racers. Like I love the Stars events, but it's not the same as coming home, right?
Yeah.
Like this, it's cool, but like when we got to this year, I really felt like it was like yeah, this is it. Like this
Yep.
this was the peak. So and it was a beautiful day, but it was so nice to see everybody again and see a packed stands in Wisconsin and see what we had like 20 something cars. I can't remember how many,
I can tell you in a minute here.
but I mean a great field. I mean you can't complain. That's one of those ones that puts a smile on your face and
Yeah.
it doesn't leave for a day or so. I'm sure
29
Kellen
for the
I'm
record.
sure Kellen was thrilled because he was a movie star that day.
Yeah, that was so I didn't realize it at the time, and that video got sent to the group chat, and I'm like, wait a second, and the caption was, "Look at what I found," and I'm like, wow, That was the day a social media star was born.
Well, and it's funny because I think you and I had like I friended you on Facebook because I was like, oh, he works at Platteville. So my family's from Platteville. I went there, like I love that
Oh.
school. And so I was like, oh, he's a Platteville guy. Like I'm like, I don't care who he is. Like he's got to be a cool guy. And then I was like, oh, he goes to the races. I'm like, this guy's awesome. So it's funny
Yep.
like how this finally kind of worked out. I really like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, for sure. That was
So
funny.
you said you covered Oktoberfest, right?
Yeah.
Curiosity question, just obviously, I guess it's two-part. One, how fun is it from just being at Oktoberfest from your perspective? Start with that.
Well, I will preface with the fact that I don't drink, which is kind of crazy in this state. So I
But I
don't.
also feel like you don't have to for that one as well.
Yes, if anybody knows me, like they're like they see me and they're like, yeah, you don't have to drink to have a good time. But Fest is like, oh, it's just so unexplainable. It's you can't explain it. For me, it's an absolute grind. Like I think this year we're gonna try and get two of me because I'm one of those people that's like, all right, like whenever drivers on the property, like I'm there, like I have to be there.
Yep.
Which do I really have to be? Not really, but like I kind of have it in my head that I need to. So it's 4, 5.5 days of okay, pits are open at 8. I'll be there at 8:30. You kind of cheated a little bit, but it's
Yep.
it's a grind. It goes entirely way too quick every year. That first year felt long, but then the second year you're like, the next thing you know, the 200 starting, and you're like, what just happened?
Yep.
Um, but it's probably the week I look forward to the most. And then I've been fortunate to cover Winchester last 2 years. So we go right from Fest to, you finish up the hangover, the post-event hangover, as Steve and I call it. And then you get back on Monday and then Tuesday. I don't even know what I did last year. Maybe just charge the batteries, recharge myself. And I think Wednesday or Thursday, Steve and I were back in the road down to Indiana. Like it was like, boom, you're gone again. Like you gotta, Oktoberfest is
Yep.
gone. You're already on Winchester and then you go to Winchester and it's not quite the same vibe, but it's a similar like, holy crap, like this means something. There's something in the air that you just can't explain.
The other part of that is obviously you're trying to pump out content like during the week and during the time you're there. How are you doing that? Like you got the Wi-Fi setup going in the camper, you sitting at the hotel? Like what are you doing?
No, so we'll get an Airbnb. So for that, I work with the ASA Midwest Tour portion of Track TV with Kurt Schrader and the gang. And so he has his own trailer. But what we do is if you've ever been to the cross next to like there's like a VIP party deck above the bathrooms there, and then like
Yep.
that side of the tower is us. So for Fest, we will have like our announcers, Dean and Matt, and then Jim will join us on Sunday. And then I normally get like a folding table because I spread my stuff out. I have a whole box and all, my cameras and lenses. And then
Yep.
I'll have my computer set up. And last year, Brian actually ran like an Ethernet down and around for me. So and they just ran fiber there, so it's stupid fast.
Yep.
Um, but I don't even take my stuff back to the Airbnb. Like that's how you go there, shower and sleep, and then you're right back. So I just leave all my stuff there because it's a safe enough place. Maybe I
Yeah.
shouldn't have said that because now people are gonna go steal my stuff. But like, I mean, it's like that's the kind of event it is you can go there and you're like, oh, it's like it's fine, and then you show up in the morning and all it is getting things unlocked, and the next thing you know, it's just all right, let's get ready for the day, and there
Yep.
you are. Yeah, so I sit in a little corner and sit there and just do that, and oh, go shoot race cars, and then it's just crazy.
Yep.
Follow-up question to that. You talk about different lenses, I'm assuming for those of us not in the media, um, I'm assuming you probably got a backpack or something. Talk us through what the equipment is like. What kind of equipment are you using? I'm assuming cameras, battery packs. What do you got? What are you using for equipment? And do you have a favorite piece of equipment for, is it camera, interviews, whatever?
What I
Just
would
talk
say,
us through.
what's in the battle bag?
Yeah.
Yeah, so well, when I first started, I had one of those backpacks, and I hate like backpacks are like I don't know. I've always been like someone like you use it to carry your stuff, but I'm not gonna like lug it around all day.
Yep.
The only thing I'll lug around are my golf clubs. Like I'll throw them on and but I'm and maybe that's just a byproduct of me doing that because I was on the golf team and it sucked in high school. It's 43 degrees and you're like the last thing you want to do is be cold and carrying a 20 pounds of crap. So I think part of my reason and hate against camera backpacks is probably from that. And so that led me to when I started, I had this construction belt with like this weird bag, this cinch bag. and I only had a couple batteries, maybe a couple GoPros, and like like an Aquafina water bottle, like really small. And then kind of, started getting more serious, and I'm like, I gotta really invest in something here. So then I met Jack Kessler, who is an Indiana-based photographer, shoots a little 500 every year. That's another race I want to go to, the 500, little
Yep.
500. But he shoots that every year, and he had this think tank like belt thing. So we'd have like one lens in his waist, and then batteries, a water bottle, and like another thing. Which I was like, okay, I don't need 5 bags in the waist, but I'm like, I could use a couple. So I snagged a racing radios belt from Sands, and in one of the packs I have all my batteries and the mic, uh like the mic, the dead kitten is Tony Stevens, or like whatever you put in the front of a mic. Like you don't want to see the mic, but it's the fluff thing. And then the other one is normally my lens. So I either use a 70 to 200 or my 28 to 70. So I just kind of have the one body, and I know like some professional photographers will have two. Um, but obviously video is different than photo in that sense that I have the stream to fall back on if I need to shoot something. Or like if I don't get it, I'm not gonna cry. Like most of the time I'm okay with missing something should it happen. But you also learn to make them at the right time,
Yep.
you learn the tendencies of the guys, and like if you see certain cars together, you're like, okay, maybe we go back. You don't
Yep.
make that change. But then I'll have my lens in my back right one, and then the left is normally just a water bottle. So I have a hydro that I swear by any insulated water bottle. I mean, it could be 95 degrees and you're throwing it'll be cold, So that's what I swear by. And then the belt's nice because you can then throw a radio. So if I wear any comms or radios with anybody, it can throw that in. And then the other thing I bought, and I owe Dan Fredrickson a little bit for this because he got me in last minute. I have custom sound gear earbuds, or like whatever you say the drivers wear. That is the best investment I've ever made. Like it is like you can wear them on the plane. I wear them when I sleep sometimes. Like if I can't fall asleep, I'll throw like white box, like white noise, box fan. I just throw that on and I'm just out. Like I use them more than you'd think you would. That's pretty much what I got normally rocking. Oh, and the prescription safety glasses. Can't forget
Yes.
about those.
All right. So we're talking about gear. I gotta ask, what's on the wristband?
Yeah, that's a classic. I actually got it right here. So this one is from the Trickle 99 at Sands. I think under it is all the ASA stuff, yeah. So it's normally just like a schedule of events. Oh, please expose properly. That's fine. It's normally just a schedule of events, and then on the other side I'll have like I'm gonna get flamed for this. I'll have like an entry list, and then I'll have fun written on there. Because some of the weekends, the ASA weekends especially get really stressful, but you gotta remember, like I'm trying to have fun. But it's normally just a schedule. Sometimes I'll get really detailed with like people we need to hit, or hey, we need to hit a Bubba, we need to hit Carson Hocevar, we need to hit so and so today.
Yep.
But most of the time it's just a schedule and entry list to be like, because some of those ASA races, like there's some people that I just don't know that show up last minute, and you're like, who are you? Oh, that's right. That's who you are. Like, it's just nice to have that, like, so then you're not looking on your phone and like trying to find the PDF on the Stars website. It's just
Yep.
a little easier for me to do that. But yeah, I don't know.
I've seen you for years running around the track. I'm like, I wonder what's on that wristband.
Yeah, I think it was Mark Urban, and Mark Urban, he does a lot of stuff for like IMSA teams. So he'll shoot for like Kamui Kobayashi, and he travels all around the globe doing that. And I think I saw a tweet from him like years ago, and he's like, "Oh, like get a football wristband." And I'm like, that's genius. But he would like use it because he like his videos are different than mine because he plans them out more and like really storyboards them. Where I'm like, I don't have that luxury, but I'm like, I still like that it's a good information source
Yep.
to have if you need something.
I was
For
thinking you
sure.
could maybe, like a quarterback have some plays on there. Maybe you could get some driver setups, what guys are doing with their
Dude, if I only knew, I'm telling you, you could tell me, like, I know what things are, but if you started telling me measurements, no
Wow.
idea. No idea. Like I know what stagger is. I learned what caster is last year. Know what camber is. Like caster was a really hard concept for me to learn. But like I know what these things are, but I couldn't tell you really much else.
Yep.
You could
So
go
here's
up to one of your buddies, Mondike. Oh, you want to know what Fredrickson's got on his left rear? Here, let me flip open my
Could you imagine the setup sheet in that? Oh my
Oh man.
gosh. Like, hey, 5 star or can you make a Hamkey? Can you make a custom setup sheet like this size, please and thank you?
Oh, yeah. So when you talk about kind of all the events you've been to, like what are probably three of the most memorable events you've gotten to shoot? And I
In
know this
my
is a stretch, but
Or
in
or you could even say like, all right, you're auditioning. Like, here are my three portfolios. Like, these are my bona fide, my best of my best.
it's hard because it's like how do you quantify that question? Because it's each each race is a different level of content. Like ASA, like I almost don't touch socials at all. We do maybe one or two social pieces. That's all
Yeah.
broadcast. Where then you get to a Midwest tour thing and it's a couple broadcasts, but it's more social. And then you go to a Pit Row, a Live for Five show, and it's like all social. And then Golden Sands is all social. So it's like it's a completely different like it's so across the board. Um, the most memorable ones are probably the first fest I shot. I was only there for the weekend. Um, but I just remember like walking in Saturday and my schedule wasn't as booked at the time. So I think like that was my first race in like a month. Like I hadn't seen, I was like really like I was like, shoot, like I gotta enjoy this. I remember walking in and just like going, what in the hell am I walking into? You hear all those stories and you walk up and then you find your spot and it's just like it was just crazy and yeah, I can't explain it. And then Sunday you get to the 200 and it's like it felt I don't know, it's just different. There's just something about that crisp fall air with the sun. It's just different. Like you
Yep.
can't explain it. Winchester, I have to think much of the same. I wish Winchester was as scary as it once was. Like I don't know. I just wish it wasn't scary, but it's still there's nothing like walking there and then standing. Because I'm fortunate to stand in some stupid dangerous spots. Like I like that part of the job. And so you get to stand and like turn one of Winchester and just see them barreling at you, and then there's that's stupid.
Yep.
What else would be one? I don't know if it's the mile. It might be the mile. That or the first like stars show because like we did that first year we did the stars. We did the Madison race because it was a Midwest tour race, and then we did Milwaukee because it was a Midwest tour race.
Yep.
And then the contract kind of got signed where they wanted us to do the Anderson, the Red Bud 400. And I remember, and we did Toledo that year. And I remember being so excited to go somewhere that wasn't Wisconsin or Illinois or Iowa because we didn't travel as kids in my
Yep.
family. And so I'm like, oh, this is Indiana, this is Ohio. And my bosses are like, yeah, it's Ohio. And I'm like, yeah, and it's not Wisconsin, baby. They're like, it's Toledo. And I'm like, yeah, I know, it's Toledo. It's awesome. And then you go to Anderson, of course, there's like a strip joint just outside of Turn One, which I don't know if I'll ever visit, haven't visited yet. I've heard other cruise stories, but it's like it just shows you, you're like, oh, this is Anderson. Oh, this is Anderson. Like I love the track, but it's like, yeah, I see why you're not gung ho to go to Anderson.
Yep.
Yep.
That's gonna be one of the things though too. Like, you being obviously like bebopping around the racetrack and being in the pits and like that. It's like the amount of stories that you just get to hear out of guys that are both racing related and not racing related. Got to be something. Like, I remember listening. I'm listening to when Drew was talking to James Swan because he went to Anderson the one year, and he was telling like how he was getting into the pits and like how he was the last guy there, and just like basically they were trying to kick him out because he was the last guy there because
Really?
nobody hangs around.
Oh, in that sense. I thought you
Yeah,
meant like he was. Oh,
nobody
okay.
hangs around. Like, I saw it from Andy Monday the other day at WIR. Like, it was him and I forget who else who was they were racing or waiting out to see who the last guy was going to be in the pits.
Yep. The old last hauler.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that's like I like the stars. Like they are big races, but that's again the thing. Like I think Florida gets some of that, like a little bit more of that, but I think you go to like a CRA area and you're not getting that. I mean, maybe at a weekly show, but I mean, you'll get that for a tour race. And I feel like Greg will be like, oh yeah, sure, like whatever, like okay, it's like this year. Like, I'm sure guys didn't leave there till 9, 10 o'clock on a
Oh,
Sunday night, you know? And I mean, even take Angel Park is the same way. You got guys that are like Adam Taylor's got to drive down to Indiana, and he stayed. I mean, I didn't leave until 45 minutes, an hour after the races, and he was just getting his trailer and leaving. It's like, I mean, you hang around. It's just what we do up here, and I guess I never really thought of that but it's something that's like when I said that this year was like like that's what I meant. Like it's like you go in
Yep.
the stands, you see the band, like you see the people, like it's like
yep.
it just means more.
Yeah, for sure. Kind of going on a little bit more on the other side of things. What's your favorite hobby outside of your media coverage?
More media coverage. I go to Angel Park for fun. Like it sounds stupid, but I don't get to take photos that often. That's fun, but that doesn't really count as another hobby. Um, I just getting back into golf. I golfed a lot in high school and then stepped away for a couple years. Think I'm gonna go a lot more this summer, hopefully, if I can really commit to going. Danielle, Bain, and that whole crew, we go often enough. So it's pretty fun. Like at least every Monday or every other Monday, we'll go and hit up one of their cheap courses and go. And I forget that I don't know. Like I don't know how do I send this without saying like a complete asshole. Sorry for the swear. Sorry for the swear. Um, like golfing with them. Like I golfed my like since I was like 6. So like I went out this weekend with Frederickson's and I shot like an 87. And I was just like, oh, okay. Like I was like I thought I would have lost it like a lot more, but um, so it's weird like going back with people that didn't grow up and are now picking the game up and they're like, "Oh, I'm here for fun." And it's like, "Oh, there's a big gap still between us." You're doing, like maybe I should play two balls. I like golf. I like hockey, so in the winter I'll skate with a bunch of the beer leagues in Stevens Point and the college leagues. I'm just out of college, so they'll let me play and um, it's interesting, you spend time with some people that you wouldn't normally see, or you do the whole, oh, I know your brother or your cousin, and
Yep.
it's the whole conversation. But it's nice to kind of be seen, be heard, kind of thing. I always think to say, but at some point, the racing takes over, and I'm like, I just don't feel like going to hockey anymore. You say I'm good for the year, but it's always a welcome sight to hit it in like September, and you're like, all right, and we're back.
Yeah.
Yep,
So
for
for those
sure.
of us, you're obviously golfing enough that you don't got the slice problem. For those of us that don't golf that often, how do you fix that wicked slice?
There's a couple ways. There's like two ways. I think it's because normally if you're coming from over the top, so yeah, this is getting really nerdy really quickly. So if you're coming from over the top, your face of your club is going to be sending the ball and spinning it to the right. So you're probably coming over the top. So the swing thought for you should be like take it kind of inside a little bit, but especially on the downswing, take it in the inside and kind of swing out to the left. That's one. Or when on the top of your swing, I've seen this too. If you put kind of something under your right leg, and then at the top, your right leg kind of sits on that inside of your foot, and that if you kind of hold that and load from the inside, that's something I've seen work. But 9 times out of 10, it's typically the swing path because a lot of people will take it back and then they'll kind of like chop at it, and you should really try and focus on a more like rotational out here kind of thing.
Got it. Yep.
Or a tennis racket too. I've seen like with a tennis racket, so they'll take it and you hold it, and it's like, okay, make sure it's like perpendicular here, and then like take it back to the top and then perpendicular there. Like you really want the toe of the club facing up. See, I never lost this knowledge. Like I don't understand it. Like didn't play for like 2.5 years, and then I just never lost the knowledge.
See, I was in baseball, wasn't very good in baseball, but I was in baseball, so I almost like have a baseball swing if I ever tee off. I haven't touched a golf club in probably 10 years, but
It'll be July.
yep. Well, so I better
But
start warming up then.
You know what?
yep.
Speaking of golf outings, I got to. We got. So there's more races I keep thinking of. I want to shoot. I want to shoot the Prairie Dirt Classic.
Yes.
But the thing that gets me about the Prairie Dirt Classic is that they do that golf outing like that week. I think that's the coolest thing.
Yep.
Like they
Yep.
get like I don't exactly know who goes, but clearly it's the drivers, the crew, media, officials, other people, sponsors,
Yep.
whatever. But I'm like, that would be cool to do for something here. Like for Slinger Nationals, it's like I don't know where you'd go. but it's like, okay, we're doing our charity golf outing, whatever our cause is going to be this year. Like, I don't know, like it'd be kind of nice, a way to relax before the week gets going. And it's funny that I say relax because I interviewed Brad JJ Mueller last week, and I asked him, I'm like, Southern Nationals, like when I say that, what comes to mind? And he goes, the most stressful and worst 2 days of the year.
Wow.
And he goes, well, the second I walk in the pit gate Monday morning, I just cannot wait to leave on Tuesday night. And I'm like,
Wow.
I know that's what I said. And I get it. Like I get it. And I think, and obviously, and I don't need to spoil it, but he did say he's like he didn't want to win the way that he did, and I don't blame him because who wants to win in the fashion he did last
Yep.
year?
Yeah.
But in the same sense, I think for him, it's been one of those things where he's been racing there for some 3 decades, and it
Oh,
was like I can see why the pressure's built on him for so long to just to put your name on that list. So I can get where he's come. I can imagine where he's coming from in the sense of those words.
yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Might as well add the Indy 500 to that list too. I mean, there's like races, but it's like, again, the other thing too is like with covering short track racing is like, I like that the tracks and facilities are small. Like, I like putting steps on in a day, but like when I shot at Kansas with Justin, holy crap. Like, I should have rented a golf cart or something, but of course, I'm a little old. You're now a very, very tiny fish in a much bigger pond all of a sudden. So it's like, how do I get a golf cart? I was like, screw it, I'll just step it. And it was like, it was so freaking stupid. Like I remember running up the stands and I'm like shooting, and then like you're running down, you're like, oh, this is a crap spot. And then you're like, oh, to get through the fence, you have to go here. And I was like, it was a complete crapshoot. It was just a disaster. But whatever.
Last
Those
question.
are the, yep, go ahead.
I got another question. Just you talk about, I don't know if you maybe answered this, but do you have a favorite sport or whatever, favorite sport or activity to shoot outside? Well, I guess I just made the assumption racing is your favorite to shoot. So if it's not your favorite, shouldn't
It,
assume that. But what is if racing's not your favorite thing to shoot? What is their favorite sport activity that you enjoy? What's the next favorite on the list?
I think racing's gonna take the cake. Like as much as I might not say it, but
Perfect.
it's so seasonal for me. Like right, like if you ask me in March or in January, I'm loving the hockey, right? And racing's the last thing on my mind. But you ask me now, and I'm not even thinking of hockey or any other collegiate sport for that matter. I'm certainly following the Division III baseball and softball World Series right now, just because both of our teams have been pretty good the last couple of years. So it's kind of fun to see like Whitewater's in the final right now for baseball, and then a couple other schools. But um, I definitely it is an ebb and a flow. Hockey's definitely second on the list. Um, Growing up with that program in the college in my backyard, I know the head coach well, and it's special. He lets me go in the locker room quite a bit for shots, and getting to be a part of those moments is pretty cool. I never really got to have that sports experience, so it's in some ways I feel like am I like doing too much? Am I being too much a part of the team? But I'm also like, if I feel like they would have told me if I am. But it's pretty cool to get to live those moments with those guys and see them at their highest and see them at their lowest. And hockey's second. Basketball was fun. It's a great program. Our coach is building a great thing. Softball was fun. Volleyball was fun. Honestly, a lot of it was because I knew these people, and now a lot of them are graduated, so it's kind of like it's starting to be a different vibe and a changing vibe. Because it was fun because you'd get to go see your friends out in the court and then kind of go to the bars with them and yeah, hey, oh yeah, you look like an idiot today. But we still won, so who cares? So it was a little bit more like that, and then you go on the bus rides and with them, and it was more your friends. So as a student, it was fun, but now as an employee, it's definitely a little different. But it still doesn't take away the fact that I think the atmosphere that we have for Division III hockey at Stevens Point is by far second to none.
Cool.
NHL finals fire up this week, don't they? Wednesday?
Yeah, I'm gonna be calling Matt Panier on the daily because he's a big Oilers fan, and yeah, we gotta it either be like earthquake watch or suicide watch. We'll find out soon if I'm Matt Panier. Because I think they had an overtime winner, and I immediately put on Facebook, I'm like, somebody better call Matt Panier. And he's like, I celebrated and didn't wake the baby up. And I was like, ah, boy. So we'll have to ask Matt and Courtney when I see them after this, because I'm sure well, I don't know if I might not see him at the Bev because that's the ASA weekend, so that weekend gets really muddy really quick. But I'll be texting him for sure and going, "How you hanging in there?" I'm sure we'll be doing one of these and one of these, you know.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
So you talked about obviously ASA, the Wisconsin swing coming up here soon. What else is kind of on the agenda as far as events that you got covering?
Oh, let's pull it up. I got a Google Calendar. I don't even know what I honestly just know today ends and why it's a Monday. That's all I know.
Yep.
So we'll go Wedding Friday, Trickle 99s this Saturday, then the World of Outlaws at APS. I'm really excited to see that show. And then
Yep.
obviously it's the Stars Wisconsin swing, and then I say like I'm just gonna say we get back into the swing of things. Literally, we got Golden Sands weekly after that, and then Norway makes its return to the Midwest Tour schedule,
Mhm.
and then it's Golden State or it's a couple APS events thrown in there, and then some GSS stuff, and then the two trips to DRP with the back-to-back Alive for Five Tundra. And
Yep.
then my birthday's thrown in there on the 6th, so that's right during Flinger Nationals. So it's actually crazy because probably right after working a little bit with Travis and Bruce Dudelman on some of the promotions for that as well. So it's we should probably start it now, but it's like I said, it's so hard when you're doing this with everything. We'll probably start that right after the ASA swing and really start hammering Slinger Nats and trying to get butts in seats and see what that looks like. Because then all of a sudden it's a race to Slinger Nats and 4th of July and my birthday and all that, and then it kind of mellows out, and then it's kind of how do we try and elongate and enjoy what we have until Labor Day? Because
Yep.
next thing you know, it's the Jim Sauter and then you're at Elko, and then oh my gosh, it's faster than Winchester, and then we're done again, and you're right back to where we were. So it's you gotta try and enjoy it, and it goes entirely way too quick. I know I'll be sitting there in August going, like, what just happened? Like we were just here, you know, and but it's whatever.
So cool. As we kind of wrap up, where if somebody wants to get a hold of you, where's the best place to get a hold of you for any media related stuff?
Probably just my personal social handles. So that's mostly Villavin32, like Instagram. I do have a media account, but I'm not like as active as one probably should be. Because like I said, like I don't make my money through that. I kind of make my money through other endeavors. So it's kind of a weird avenue, right? So probably my personal. I'm on Facebook. Otherwise, come up to me at the racetrack. Well, yeah, it might not be the best time, but or at least be like, "Hey, I'm so and so." Do one of those. Be like, "I'll text you." Because if you say something at the racetrack, it's normally like, "Oh, hey, thanks, guy," and then it's just gone. You
Yep.
know, because I'm sure anyone that see me at the racetrack, it looks like I'm marching to beat my own drum and I'm on my own agenda, and um, it's just what's next and trying to get the best shot and cover the event as best we can, and then I'm telling you, after an event, there's nothing like that come down. Like there's been a couple races this year where it's like you're so go 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 for 200 laps and then like checkered flag hits and all of a sudden you're like, why do I have a headache? Why does everything hurt? Like all of a sudden it just hits you like a truck and you're like, oh, this sucks. I'm tired, you know?
Yep.
Yep.
But yeah, otherwise reach out to me on socials. Otherwise, see me at racetrack. Don't be a stranger. It's really weird because a lot of people are like, oh, I saw you. I'm like, oh, you did? Like, why didn't you say hi? You know? So it's always pretty fun.
Cool. So you'll be at Angel Park on Sunday?
Yeah, for the World of Outlaws show, that's the plan.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. We're planning
So
to make at least two of us for sure are planning to make that
Yep.
trip. So
yeah, I'm excited because I was there at APS the other day and they're for they're 3-1 and it was the card wasn't bad, but again, you're like, oh, like I wish it was better. But then you're kind of talk around and you're like, oh yeah, the IRA show was pretty packed, and I'm like, yeah, I'm sure that World of Outlaws show will be just
Oh
stupid
yeah.
packed. But I mean, because that's the first time I've been there in like 8 years,
God.
8 years, I
I saw
think.
the number, yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully the track's good and it puts on a good show. Um, it's gonna be crazy.
Oh yeah.
yeah,
I'm
for sure.
excited.
Absolutely. Cool. As we finish up, any kind of final thoughts from anyone as we kind of wrap up our special edition here?
No, this was a blast. Obviously, you want to stick around a little bit afterwards. You're more than welcome to too. Um, as we always say, some of the best conversations happen off camera as well.
Oh, trust me, I know. You don't believe how many times we go. What are we talking about? You know, you do one of those. You're like, hey, you're like, I want in on the stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going back to that conversation thing. You hear some of the damnedest things in the pit area, for sure.
For sure. So cool. Well, we appreciate you taking time to join us. We'll throw his social handles in the description of the video. So if anyone's looking to reach out to him, you can do that as well. But that wraps up our special edition of the Tuesday Track Talk. But until then, we'll see you guys next week.